This week's revision video is on infection and response. So we will go through some exam questions to help us revise for this. We will spend more time on the longer answer questions as we talk through how to recall large amounts of knowledge to then apply this knowledge to the context of the question and organize into a logical structure so that we can secure all the marks. So question 1, some diseases can be cured using antibiotics and prevented by a vaccination. So antibiotics we know are drugs that are used to kill bacteria, and vaccination we know is the introduction of a inactive or a dead pathogen which is still presenting the same antigen, will therefore be recognized by those antibodies and then trigger an immune response. Part A asks us to explain fully why an antibiotic cannot be used to cure a viral disease. The reason an antibiotic cannot be used to cure a viral disease is because viruses live inside a host cell. So they will live inside a cell. And as they live inside the cell, antibiotics will not be able to access this pathogen, this virus, to kill. It would have to overcome the whole cell, which is not possible. So therefore, viruses cannot be cured by antibiotics. It's a 2-mark question, so you will get a mark for just recognizing that viruses do live inside a cell, and you get a 2nd mark for then understanding that a bacteria, the antibiotic will not be able to access the virus inside the cell. Part 2 is asking us about antibiotic resistant strains. So there has been a large increase in the populations of many antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria in the recent years. Antibiotic resistant strains, these are bacterial strains that are not going to be killed by the antibiotics. The reason there has been a large increase, antibiotics will kill the non-resistant strains. So a person that has taken antibiotics that's got a bacterial infection, the strains that are not resistant, they won't be able to fight this bacteria and they will die. When they do die, this means that the resistant strains survive. As they survive, these strains now have less competition. There is less of them, and they've already got this advantage. There is less competition for them. Therefore, they will further grow in number. As they're able to survive, there's no competition. Their populations will therefore increase. You get a mark for recognizing that the antibiotics will not kill the resistant strains because they will survive. There'll be less competition for them. That gives you another mark. B, a person can be immunized against a disease by injecting them with an inactive form of a pathogen. A person that is immunized, they have immunity against this disease. They have the immune cells that will fight and that will kill the bacteria, so they survive. Injecting them with an inactive form of pathogen, we know this is how vaccinations are formed. So how does this make the person immune to the disease? Firstly, if we was to inject an inactive pathogen into the body, this inactive pathogen that still is displaying the same antigen, this will then go on to stimulate antibody production. So the body has recognized the pathogen on the antigen on this pathogen, and it has now activated the antibody production by the white blood cells if this person was to be reinfected by this pathogen, so if there was a reinfection, white blood cells would now rapidly be able to kill this pathogen. You get a mark for recognizing the antibody stimulation by these white blood cells, and you get a second mark for understanding that upon reinfection, the antibody production is much faster. Therefore, essentially the pathogen is killed before it is able to spread and cause disease, in the sense that symptoms are able to be shown. You also get a mark for antibody production. Mosquitoes carry a pathogen, and this pathogen causes malaria. The pathogen is a protist. Mosquito nets can help prevent the spread of malaria. Table 1 shows the results of a study in one area of Africa. The newspaper made the following statement: a study shows that mosquito nets are scientifically proven to prevent malaria. Give one piece of evidence that supports this statement. Firstly, if we have a look at the data, out of 476 people, 426 of them used a net. And those who did use a mosquito net when they were sleeping, only 1.2% of them got malaria. Those who did not use a mosquito net when they were sleeping, 40% of them got malaria. So one piece of evidence that supports that mosquito nets are scientifically proven to prevent malaria could be that there is a lower percentage (1.2% precisely) of people who used mosquito net getting or contracting malaria. One reason why this is not valid, well, it only talks about sleeping, and malaria and getting bitten by mosquitoes isn't something that just happens when you're sleeping. It could be daytime too. So the fact that can get malaria even when you are not sleeping. Secondly, it's talking about how this is a scientifically proven statement. Well, the sample size that was used was only 476. So another factor why this may not be valid is that a very small sample size is used. Table 2 shows information about the number of deaths from malaria in the same area of Africa. Predict the number of people per 100,000 who died from malaria in 2017 if this trend stays the same. If we look at the data, as the years go by, the number of people that are dying per 100,000 is decreasing. You would get a number, if we look at this trend, we follow the trend, any number in between 88 and 91 would be correct. There's a difference of 3 here and a difference of 2 there. So following that trend, anything a number between those would be correct. Use of mosquito nets has helped to reduce the number of deaths from malaria each year. Suggest one other reason for the reduced number of deaths. So one, mosquito nets would help. But again, we did talk about how malaria isn't something that's just contracted when you're sleeping. Improved healthcare in general in Africa would have a positive impact. Wearing longer clothing, covering up more skin would also have a impact. And lastly, insecticides, the killing of these malarial protists, the mosquitoes. F is a question. So describe how the human body prevents pathogens from entering and defends itself against pathogens in the body. When we describe something, we are to give as much detail as possible. Specifically, we need to talk about how the human body prevents pathogens from entering and defends itself against pathogens that do enter the body. So this, as you will recognize, is essentially a multi-part question. Recognizing that this is a multi-part question helps us then to recall the correct information and to then organize this information so we can get all the marks. If we first talk about barriers that are used to prevent. So, to prevent pathogens from entering, we are talking about the non-specific barrier methods. Within the non-specific barrier methods, we learnt about how the skin, this forms a barrier, it prevents entry, so it's literally a barrier preventing entry. We know that the skin produces sebum or oil, which it repels pathogens, so this will repel pathogens. And we also know the skin works with the platelets in our blood to form scabs or clots quickly over any cuts, any break in that barrier where a pathogen could enter. We know that our skin works with alongside platelets to form scabs quickly to stop that entry. So one non-specific barrier method is the skin. Another one, in our stomach, produces hydrochloric acid, maintains the condition in the stomach to be very acidic. This we know kills bacteria. Our eyes produce tears, which are antiseptic, so they have enzymes that will kill the bacteria. And our breathing system, so we can also talk about eyes here, and we can also talk about breathing system, whereby we've got cilia and mucus. Together, this will trap the pathogen, and the trachea, which produces mucus to flush the pathogen out of our body. These are all the non-specific barrier methods. We also need to then talk about if this barrier method fails and the pathogen was to get inside our body, what are the specific methods that we can use within our body? So we know that specific immunity is formed of the white blood cells. We know that our blood has lymphocytes, and these lymphocytes will, one, release antitoxins. These antitoxins will neutralize the toxins produced by the bacteria cells, so they're not able to harm our body. Equally, these lymphocytes will also produce antibodies, and these antibodies kill the pathogen. White blood cells are also, so that's one type, but we know we've also got phagocytes, and these phagocytes will engulf the pathogen, release enzymes to then digest and kill that pathogen. So these are specific, and it's once this barrier method had failed, this is the next